They're not kidding. They really do want you to spend a few days getting away from it all here in Oldham. They call it a town in the country, and they've spent £14,000 promoting the place both at home and abroad. They've got Oldham key rings, Oldham car stickers, Oldham beer mats, not to mention glossy brochures like these printed in 3 different languages. The Come to Oldham plan was dreamt up by Mr. Andrew Harris. Mr. Harris is the town's estates officer and what Oldhamers call a comer-in. However, he's very anxious that Oldham should rid itself of its cloth-capped, cold and, frankly, rather miserable image. For that, he believes, is the only way it will attract much-needed jobs. Consequently, he's pushing it as a tourist town. And while he'd be the first to admit that fun-seekers probably won't have as much fun as we did, he does maintain that the town has a lot to offer the happy holidaymaker. It is, to say the least, a quaint notion. For if nothing else, Oldham did at one time have character. Now even its proudest son would find it hard to deny that it's in a kind of planning limbo, with a closer proximity to hell than heaven.
Quaint it may be, but times change, and it's quite wrong to hang on to the sort of employment that existed here in the last century. It has to develop, and there is likely to be a greater amount of employment in Oldham, as indeed applies anywhere else, from tourist industries.
Do you actually see the day when the people who live in terraced houses on cobbled streets will have tourists walking down their street, peering through their windows?
Yes, what we've said, of course, is that we don't really see the scope for a lot of Oldhamers enjoying the benefits of employment in hiring out deck chairs and things of this type. We don't want or need that, and there aren't beaches in Oldham. It's not realistic to imagine people enjoying the benefits of cobbled streets, and indeed we have virtually none of them left, of course. What we see is the prospects for more people coming to Oldham to enjoy the very real benefits we have on our doorstep.
And although even he confesses it's a little odd, Mr. Harris puts high on his list of attractions what he calls Oldham's industrial archaeology. By that, he means the 150 mills, not so much dotted as blobbed all over its landscape. Not the most conventional of tourist attractions. But then neither are some of Oldham's other features. Apart from anything else, this is one of the wettest places in Britain. And at one time, the people who lived here stood a better chance of catching bronchitis than virtually anyone else. Oldham mumps, on the other hand, isn't an illness. It's the station at which tourists would arrive. And already the new image that would attract them is beginning to take shape. For example, Oldham won a Britain in Bloom contest. They were rather surprised, but the fact remains they did win it. And let's face it, any town that has districts with names like Daisy Nook, Mumps and Higginshaw must have something going for it. So could Oldham become the Acapulco of the North West?
The right-minded want to come here. Just have a good look round.
What's wrong with it?
I'm too much of a lady to tell you.
You don't think people would come and spend the holidays here?
Yeah! You want to see us dashing that bus going out to the town at 5:30? Can't get out of here quick enough. Rubbish. Because, well, look around you. And what would how could you invite a tourist here?
What? Don't you think it's got any attractions at all?
Well, me.
But for a final word on the subject, we consulted 3 people who've probably done more to promote Oldham than anyone else. The folk-singing Oldham Tinkers.
I think there'll be a lot more coming up now with all this advertising down there. I think it'll be very good, because they come up here for the heat.
Actually, you've picked a bad day for it, really, because it's usually a lot hotter than this. We've got the sun, but we've not got the same heat.
We walk about in singlets and shorts, normally.
Yeah, we do. Oldham, going back about 20 years, it was like Dodge City on a Saturday night. The entertainment, there was entertainment in every pub in Oldham almost.
There was.
Pianos and drums and groups. People used to travel from Burnley and Blackburn on a Saturday night.
They did, and then have a fete at Mumps.
Hopefully, the new generation of tourists will be rather better behaved. Hopefully, they'll confine themselves to sampling the local delicacies, or perhaps snapping the sunset over Higginshaw gasworks.